Yo, let's do this.
Trample on snakes.
Color, 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 color.
Get ready, it's time to get on the dance floor. Shotgun till the shit loud.
They are crying, 'cause they won't be back. Oh no, you don't come back from Chinatown. Man, you don't stand a chance if you go down in Chinatown. Man, you don't stand a chance if you go down in Chinatown. Chinatown, it's a different scene. There are people there, they are so obscene. If you see what I mean, then they've sold you the dream. Down in Chinatown, what goes up, it must come down.
Well, the country worst affected by the coronavirus in Europe is Italy, where infections have jumped by 50% in 24 hours.
Even for seasonal viruses like influenza, which peak in the northern hemisphere in our winter months, it's inverted in the southern hemisphere, or where it peaks during July or August.
And that migration between hemispheres can actually prolong the lifespan of the disease. Experts say this means the virus could exist year-round.
So when
their president says the country is at war, they've passed their training and they're ready to be sent to the front lines. The South Korean President Moon Jae-in inspects the newest recruits as he deploys the military in the fight against the coronavirus.
The coronavirus emergency, the death toll in the U.S. rising to 9.
Tonight, growing concern over the unknown, a deadly virus quickly spreading.
That the novel coronavirus is not spreading in L.A. or the U.S. right now. That at this point, you're at greater risk from the flu. Let's get right to the latest statistics.
In Miami, the school district is already preparing 250,000 laptops and tablets for students to work from home in case schools are closed.
This is not the time for parents or teachers or students to be concerned with perfect attendance. If you're sick, don't come to school.
See, I tape anything I think sounds good. You know, added with a lot of other stuff.
trample on snakes.
la prochaine.
We, in a very coordinated, government-wide way, respond to it.
She may be the face I can't forget, the trace of
pair of those. That's when I smack the shit out.
And passengers on board the Grand Princess cruise ship, owned by the same company as the Diamond Princess, are in limbo tonight.
All right, so in the event that you have to self-quarantine, like here in New York State, 1,000 folks have been asked to self-quarantine. You find yourself caring for someone who may have been exposed. Good idea to be prepared for that. NBC investigative and consumer correspondent Vicki Nguyen is here with a shopping list of things to have on hand just in case. And we start with the dry goods.
So important, and you don't have to run out and get it all now, but let's start adding to your shopping list the next few trips. You probably already have some of this. Pasta, dry goods, rice, super important. Beans, that's good. Don't forget about the kids with the nut butters, some jellies. Protein bars are a great thing, oatmeal, but I don't know about you, but I have to have popcorn.
Children of the corn, an adult nightmare.
Going nowhere. These planes have been grounded. Flybe's collapse, ending its promise it's faster than road or rail. But it's struggled to stay competitive, and now coronavirus has proven the final straw.
I'm going to show you drive-through coronavirus testing. This is a free service that the city of Gayong is offering.
And now we'll get to the bottom.
Oh God.
Of this.
For humans, the genetic information that determines our physical traits is stored in 23 pairs of chromosomes in the nucleus of every cell. These chromosomes are made up of proteins and long coiled strands of DNA. Segments of DNA, called genes, tell the cell to build specific proteins, which control its identity and function. For every chromosome pair, one comes from each biological parent. In 22 of these pairs, the chromosomes contain the same set of genes, but may have different versions of those genes. The differences arrive from mutations, which are changes to the genetic sequence that may have occurred many generations ago. Some of those changes have no effect, some cause diseases, and some lead to advantageous adaptations. The result of having two versions of each gene is that you display a combination of your biological parent's traits. But the 23rd pair is unique, and that's the secret X inactivation. This happens early in development when an embryo with two X chromosomes is just a ball of cells. Each cell inactivates one X chromosome. There's a certain degree of randomness to this process. One cell may inactivate the X chromosome from one parent, and another the chromosome from the other parent. The inactive X shrivels into a clump called a bar body and goes silent. Almost none of its genes order proteins to be made. When these early cells divide, each passes on its X inactivation. So some clusters of cells express the maternal X chromosome, while others express the paternal X. If these chromosomes carry different traits, those differences will show up in the cells. Disorders that are associated with mutations of X chromosome genes, like colorblindness or hemophilia, are often less severe in individuals with two X chromosomes. That's because in someone with one normal and one mutant copy of the gene, only some of their cells would be affected by the mutation. The severity of the disorder depends on which X got turned off and where those cells were. On the other hand, All the cells in someone with only one X chromosome can only express the mutant copy of the gene, if that's what they inherited. There are still unresolved questions about X inactivation.
Who are you? You almost understand, don't you, Bill? You're a different race from us, a different species, a different class. You're not one of us. You have to be born into society. Alien scum. No, we're not from outer space or anything like that. We have been here as long as you have. It's a matter of good breeding, really. Alien scum!
If you've ever watched the likes of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Deliverance or The Hills Have Eyes, then you'll probably think you have a good idea of what happens when humans inbreed, namely psychosis, murderous intention. With inbreeding, the two people mating are blood relations, so their gene pools are going to be much more similar. If one has the recessive allele for cystic fibrosis, it's more likely that their blood relative mating partner may also carry it. So the odds of their child having the two recessive alleles that predisposes them to cystic fibrosis is much greater. That is why inbreeding increases the chance of congenital defects. According to the World Health Organization, first cousin unions, that's producing children with any of the children of your uncles and aunts, nearly doubles the risk for neonatal and childhood death, intellectual disability and other anomalies. Whole populations that indulge in it, think of captive animals in zoos for example, begin to decrease in size as healthy mates become in short supply. That's known as inbreeding depression, and scientists have been able to closely study the effect of it by looking at the royals. Ancient dynasties like the Egyptian pharaohs or back in the Persian dynasty where brother-sister and parent-child marriages were not uncommon, usually to maintain power within bloodlines. A more recent example of this phenomenon is one of the most important royal houses of Europe, the House of Habsburg. For generations, half-siblings, cousins, and even uncles and nieces were regularly marrying each other.
Well, since we're on the same team, how do I look?
Fresh.
Well, since we're on the same team,
(1973).
Trample on snakes.
Sometimes an insect will evolve to mimic its predator. A fly can look like a spider. A caterpillar can look like a snake. The Judas evolved to mimic its predator. Us.
Nobody up there knows about this.
Nobody would. Not until it's too late. These things can imitate us, they can infiltrate us, and breed a legion before anyone would even notice.
You'll never get away with this. Don't count on it. Butthead.
Real shit, never tell a lie. Real shit, never tell a lie.